Alright, so we are naturally going to start off my book talk tonight with some pumpkin spice herbal blend tea from Trader Joe's. I'm not actually normally, confession, a huge pumpkin spice fan in the drink department. I like it in cookies and maybe like on my waffles. But so I tried this the other day. It's really good. I actually really like it, guys. So, and I love it comes in these little sachets. And they smell, oh, they smell so amazing. I wish I could push smell through this video. And if you hear sound in the background, that's my kettle. So I'm gonna make myself a cup of tea, get cozy. We're heading into fall, and we are gonna go in there and we're gonna tackle my bookshelf, which is an area that I have struggled with in minimalism. And I'm gonna talk Halloween decor. I'm gonna talk grief and minimalism and how that impacts my books. So if you want to watch that, stay tuned. Oh my goodness, guys, this smells amazing. So I'm gonna kind of let this cool. I'm always so afraid to take that first sip of tea because if you burn your mouth, it ruins the whole rest of the drink. So it's so nerve-wracking. You gotta find that perfect place where you'll still have enough hot drink left, but then you've got a little bit of tea. You gotta let it cool, okay? So tonight I'm gonna talk about where our family's at preparing for like Halloween, and I'm also gonna talk about some like areas of minimalism that I've struggled with. I did a video recently, I'll link that below, on my closet and how I work on like minimalizing my wardrobe. At this point, I've actually gone through almost every room of our house and minimalized most of our stuff, but there's still areas that accumulate, and there's still areas that maybe I minimalized it once, but there's probably some more I could go through and get rid of. And so at the time I did the minimalism for this shelf, so believe it or not, I've already minimalized my bookshelves once. I did what I could emotionally at that time to let go of the things I had, but I'm in a little bit of a different place now, and so every time you grow or learn that you can let go of more stuff, I would recommend going back to those places and seeing if you feel differently about letting go of some things. So that's where I'm at today. But first, let's talk Halloween. So we are now in October, and our daughter, she's 4, so if you don't know me, I've got 3 kids. I've got an 8-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And this year, Halloween, of course, is gonna look very different for lots of families everywhere. And I do not wanna undermine the seriousness of what's going on in our world right now. But my daughter's friends, just a few small, like a tiny group of them from her pre-K class, want to come over and do like a distanced trick-or-treating party in our backyard. So we're gonna set up stations where they can go and kind of get that feel of trick-or-treating, and the parents can have the stuff set out for the kids to do. So we are super excited. We're gonna host that. It's been a long time since we've hosted anybody at our house, even though we love to host. And to prepare for that, I've started thinking about, what am I gonna put out for Halloween? So as you can see in the images I'm showing you, we chose our decor very carefully this year. I got rid of almost everything I had, I'll be honest, guys. I had a lot. Halloween is one of my favorite times of year because my birthday is on the day before Halloween. So I love it. I love October. I love the whole feel of fall. I love everything about it. And so in these images, with minimalism, I have learned it is so much more quality in your life, what it adds back than the quantity. So while I did have lots of Halloween stuff before, I could not say that I loved every piece. But when I got rid of most of it, I am very, very picky now about the stuff that I allow back in to our house, because it's all about that quality. And so like I got this new pumpkin that I absolutely love that matches our kitchen, and it's got like, it's from India, and it's got beautiful like glass mirrors all over it. So that's something I really love. The tree has a huge emotional attachment for me because when we got married, we used those trees as centerpieces at our wedding, but they were white. And so I repurposed one of them. I got rid of almost all the others, but I repurposed one into a Halloween tree. And then I picked out the ornaments with my grandmother, who is now passed away. And so I just have like really fond memories of this tree. And then my kids, we got some of those dollar store like paint your own ornaments, and my son painted like the Frankenstein that's hanging on it. So it's a very emotional and like significant item that I'm decorating with. It's not frivolous, it's not like throwaway stuff. I'm choosing the stuff that means the most to me, and I'm making those very mindful choices of what I allow in my home. So that's the big thing I like to remember anytime I'm approaching a holiday, anytime I'm thinking through, like, what would I get rid of decor-wise, what do I keep, is this item bringing a huge, like, quality to your life? So for me, every time I walk in the kitchen and I see these items, I'm smiling. I'm recalling either that it makes me feel good about like the decor. I mean, I know the pumpkin from India doesn't have an emotional attachment, but I have fond memories of redecorating my kitchen. I love that it matches that decor, and it's one simple thing I can admire. All right, so that's it for kind of Halloween decor. Also, I want to mention that on the outside of our home, we also went very minimalist, but I love decorating with light. So even at Christmas time, I'm not very minimalist in the idea of lights. I love lights. I do not think you need like huge lawn statues and ornaments, because those you have to store. Lights compress a lot easier into boxes to store, and you're not taking up so much room in your basement, and it just gives this vibe at this time of year when the world is like so dark, really, like literally and figuratively around us. As the nights are getting longer, it gets dark earlier, and we can just put this light out into the world. So I'm decorating for Halloween with light, and I'm gonna be decorating coming up for Christmas with light, and I really like lights that cross over. So you can see, like on my fireplace, I chose these really beautiful twinkle lights that are both they're white, okay? I didn't make them specifically orange. They will cross over for all the holidays. All right. The other thing I wanted to say is recently just reflecting on grief, because my grandmother, like I said, she passed away. She meant like everything to me. She was the world to me, and she was the one that introduced me to this idea of making sure you fully embrace and celebrate a holiday, because I am not so minimalist that I will not decorate. Because for me, the decorations, the quality, and the traditions are what marks moments in time. And so with my grandmother, I have significant memories of her making the most of certain holidays. She always went all out. Okay, she was more of a maximalist. She would decorate to the max on Halloween, to the max on Christmas and Thanksgiving and Easter, and it made it such a really unique environment for us kids to come, and it was just this whimsical thing. And so absolutely, if you're like that, go for it. Like, I'm not convincing you right here and now that you have to be minimalist. I'm just saying for our family, for our season right now, it's what works for us. But I still am embracing that spirit of decorating and recognizing the holiday, and also finding traditions that don't require me to store stuff. So like, am I gonna decorate the Halloween cookies with my kids? Absolutely, okay? That's edible. It doesn't have to be stored away. Are we gonna carve pumpkins? Oh yeah, you betcha. Because those could be thrown away after the holiday, but I am gonna create this memory, this fun activity with my children, of picking those pumpkins, carving them, lighting them up, and showing them how we light up the darkness on that night. So that's kind of my thoughts about you don't let the holidays just pass you by. Don't become so minimalist that you don't put anything out. Find your space, find your creative mark. And I think the last thing I want to emphasize with decor, I guess most of this video is turning out to be about decor. I didn't quite intend that. Honestly, I don't even know if I'm going to get to my bookshelf tonight. I'm just talking about decor, guys. I'm so excited for Halloween. Maybe I'll make this a two-part video and we'll get to the bookshelf. Another point. With decor, I want to emphasize you need to actually use it and you need to put it out and embrace it. What's the point of having it if you don't use it? So I guess a case in point is some people keep special china stored away. Like my grandmother had Christmas china from my mother that she had bought her. And now that she's passed away, it's my mother's now. And I watched my mom pack that china up and I said, are you gonna make sure to pull this out? You know, at Christmas, are we actually gonna eat on it? Because if it means that much to you, you should be using it. And I know we all get afraid of like, what if a dish breaks? What if this, that, you know, you need to use it. It happens, life happens. If a dish breaks, you're gonna have that memory. You're gonna move on. It'll be okay. It's not the end of the world. Even like candles. I'm just gonna throw that out there tonight. I've got a clip of me lighting a candle because like we have this Halloween candle that we've been lighting and we're gonna light up until the day of Halloween. Some people buy these decorative candles, they put them on their tables and they never light them. Light your candles. That's my conviction to you tonight. Use the china, light your candles, use the things that you actually care about to make these traditions come alive, because that's part of minimalism, right? It's the quality. If you reduce the amount of things in your life, then you can really embrace and care about the few things you have, and you need to use them. It doesn't mean you sit in like a glass box and I never light a candle, I don't do this. No, I want to use those things and use them to embrace my holidays. So as I'm sniffing this pumpkin spice tea and thinking it might be ready to sip, I think I'm probably going to end my video kind of at this place and probably save my bookshelf for another night. I think that's another part of minimalism that I've really embraced, is having that grace for myself. And when I'm emotionally ready to tackle something, I think getting ready for this holiday, for Halloween, putting out the decor, and how much it's reminding me of my grandmother. I think it's good for us to be mentally aware of those places in time where that grief may pop up, where we process that. And my bookshelf has been especially hard for me. Now, I will say, like I said at the beginning, I did originally minimalize this. I went through, I got rid of a lot of the stuff that I hadn't read, which was hard, because one of the biggest struggles I always fight in minimalism is the fantasy self. The self that believes that you have hours and hours to sit down and read all of these books that I'm gonna someday get to. And so I had to kind of let some of that go. Or if I had read the book once and it was kind of, okay, you know, but I just kept it on my shelf because I had bought it and I read it once in the thought that maybe I might ever come back to it, more than likely I will not. If it's not a favorite that I've read at least twice, I'm usually not going to come back to that book. So I got rid of a lot that way, as I just let them go. And guys, I'm an English teacher. I'm into literacy, I'm into reading. So this is my one hang up on where I struggle to let things go. And I think I've minimalized to the point of, I have a lot of books that I absolutely love, that I've read twice, that maybe there's a few in here I have not read that I do still want to read, like legit. So I'm holding on to those. But then there's some in this second attempt at minimalizing this that I kind of wanted to talk about. You know, I've been talking a lot in my videos lately of why are you holding on to it if it could help someone else? So like 5 years ago when I got married, this is my second marriage, right? I went through a divorce and my husband bought us like this awesome book. and there's a workbook series that goes with it. And it's called Saving Your Marriage Before It Starts. And they have like a Saving Your Second Marriage Before It Starts. And I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, I have a friend right now. She went through a terrible divorce. We've kind of walked with her in this process, and she's about to get married in December. And I'm thinking, I could have gifted her these books. She might actually use them. It's been 5 years. I've kept them on the off chance that like my husband and I on a date night, if we ever want to like pull out some of the old questions. But let's be honest, when are we ever going to do that? I see them actually in the background. They're heading up to bed. When are we ever going to pull out something like that on a date night? Instead, we're probably going to go to our phones if we want like some date night questions or write them down from the internet. So like we hold on to these books. Well, at least I do, for the what if, this like fantasy self, or I might use it, but in the meantime, I really could be blessing someone else with that. All right, the last thing I want to talk about, because probably the next time I check back in on YouTube, I believe I will have minimalized this. I'm going to go back through, I'm going to go with that second wave, and I'm going to pull out, like I said, these kind of books that could help someone else right now that I probably won't get to. But this, I'll show you guys, is one of my other hang-ups. So I have grief books. And no, I'm not talking about books about grief. I'm talking about from my personal grief. So I feel like when somebody passes away in your life who means something to you, there will be the things or a thing that you're going to latch onto that is the thing you want to hold very special as part of their memory. And for every person, it's going to be different. And maybe it's going to be something that person actually passed down to you. Maybe in the division of their stuff after they're gone, it's something you find and it speaks to you. And I want to kind of tell you right now that that actually can still fit in with the minimalist idea, because we don't want to be so overwhelmed when we lose a loved one that we take on all their stuff, right? A lot of their stuff has to move on to help someone else go, get sold, divvied up, whatever. But the things that really like matter to that person, or if it shows something very unique about who they were or their personality, those are often the things people are drawn to, or something maybe they always wore that you remember them by. And so for me, it started with my sister. It became books. So my sister wasn't really big into reading. She was completely opposite of me. And she was still a very good student, though. She was very studious. And she was in college at the time that she passed away and had been taking some English classes. And she had 4 books, okay? Like, you look behind me, I was the book nerd in our family. I had bookshelves of books. But she only had 4 books in her room. And they were from her, like, classes, okay? So, like, these are those 4 books. And she was so, it's like nice to reflect on this. She was so meticulous that she loved to like highlight certain passages in the book. She did it in a very studious way. She has like her post-its in here, and she had like her little notes on it, like quote 1 the professor told us to look at. And this is the thing that I hold on to, that I will, I'm gonna get emotional, guys. I will not let go, ever, in my minimalist journey, because even if I got rid of every other single book, these make me think of her. They make me think of her quirks. And then when I lost my grandmother this last year, I had gifted my grandmother a book. I had gifted her this one. And so it's now come back to me in my possession, and it was Peter Rabbit. Because I'm sorry, I didn't think I'd get so emotional talking about books. My grandmother loved rabbits. She had them all over her house, in her kitchen. She would decorate with them, and she loved the tail of Peter Rabbit. But I think the thing I loved most about my grandma is she was not one who would sit down and read books, right? I gifted this to her, and she had actually kept it in the wrapping all these years. I recently took the wrapping off. She put it out next to her rabbits. She's not one that's gonna sit and read a book, but she would appreciate it because she always had this childlike innocence and this love of kids. And she would get down and play with my kids, her grandkids. So she wasn't like a super scholarly woman, and yet like above everything, like this is the one thing I wanted to hold on to remember her, was this, because it reminds me of how childlike and fun she was, how much she loved to celebrate holidays, Easter, how much she loved rabbits. And so like this is the thing I'm not gonna let go of out of my collection. And I of course love it now that I've opened it. She never did. And I want to like read it to my children and look through the books. So I start there. If I'm gonna minimalize something, I look at the most emotional thing like first, and I've got that out of the way. Those are my no-goes, no excuses, like those are staying. Everything else, I'm gonna look at it through the lens of, can I help someone else with this? Is it really imperative that I keep it? Or, you know, if it's something I'm gonna use to teach with, that's different because I'm a teacher. So there's some literary works I hold on to because I do from time to time, but I'm using them. I'm going back, I'm pulling the stuff out. There is a lot here that I'm still not using. All right, let's take a sip of tea. Oh, that is just perfect, guys. It's at that warm spot that doesn't burn you. Oh, and it's so good and fragrant. Okay, with that being said, I think I'm gonna kind of close this here. I had hoped to kind of do more action in this and like actually pull off the books, but honestly, I look at this shelf and I realize this is probably gonna take a long time. So next time you'll just see it minimalized, or I can do a part 2. If you all would actually like to see me going through each book and talking about it and like rationalizing more how I eliminate something like this, let me know, and I can focus my next video on that. If not, I have another idea for the next video coming out that I can't wait to share with you guys. So I'm gonna close this in prayer, and thank you for joining me today. Jesus, I just thank you for this beautiful fall weather. God, you created it all, including pumpkin spice, the smell that just invigorates the senses. And Lord, I just thank you for this time to slow down and reflect and think about what it is we truly cherish and value. Some people think that the holidays are a time of rushing around and busyness and chaos, but God, I really enjoy coming into this season because there are so many things we can be thankful for. There are so many ways we can embrace our loved ones. And I just pray that we would take this time as we head into Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas, that we would just pause, reflect, cherish, and celebrate each opportunity to spend time with our family and loved ones. And we just pray all this in your name, Jesus. Amen. Thank you guys for joining. And if you have not already, hit like. That's a wonderful compliment you can give to me if you liked my video, and subscribe, and that way you'll just know when I put out the next video. Thank you guys. Cheers.